Hey there, Chessium fam. Welcome back to another epic breakdown. Today, we're diving into the Caro-Kann Defense, the cool, calm, and collected opening that makes you look like a chess boss. If you're ready to learn how to handle one, E4 like a pro, let's get into it. All right, here's the start of the Caro-Kann. White goes for one, E4, hoping to get an early advantage. And instead of mirroring them with one, E5, we hit them with one, C6. This move might look quiet, but it's the beginning of a solid defense that can handle anything White throws at it. So let's go through the main variations. First up, we've got the advanced variation. White plays 2, D4, trying to claim the center, and we respond with 2, D5. Here, White decides to push with 3, E5, locking down the center. Now, what's cool about this? White's pawns are taking a lot of space, but they're also creating weaknesses. In the advanced variation, our job as Black is to build up pressure on that center over time. One classic move here is 3, Bf5. By developing our bishop outside the pawn chain, we avoid getting it stuck behind our pawns later. White will likely try moves like 4, Nf3 or 4, H4, maybe even G4 at some point, going all out on the king side. Don't worry, though our goal is simple. We'll follow up with moves like E6 to solidify our structure, then get our knights out to F6 and D7. From here, we'll be ready to counterattack White's center with moves like C5 or F6, opening things up when we're ready to strike, the exchange variation. Okay, so maybe White doesn't want to play that aggressively. Let's say instead they go for 1, E4, 1, C6, 2, D4, and then take on D5 with 3, XD5. This is the exchange variation. We simply recapture with 3, CXD5. And here's where the Caro-Kann shines. By taking back with our C-pawn, we're maintaining a strong pawn in the center. Unlike other openings where Black is scrambling for control, here we're solid and ready to develop comfortably. In this structure, our setup is simple. We develop our knights to F6 and C6, push our E-pawn to E6, and get our light-squared bishop out, typically aiming for BD6 or BB4. The goal, just stay solid, and White won't have any easy targets to attack. Classical variation. All right, let's switch it up. Maybe White is feeling traditional and goes for the classical variation. Here's how it goes. After 1, E4, C6, 2, D4, D5. White develops their knight with 3, NC3 or N2 instead of pushing E5 or capturing on D5. This signals a more balanced game. In the classical line, we'll play 3, DXE4, trading off pawns in the center. And after White recaptures with the knight, we hit them with 4, Bf5. Our bishop is out, we've got control of the center, and we're on our way to a smooth game. White might respond with N3, trying to chase our bishop, but we're ready for it. Just back the bishop up to G6 or H7 and continue developing with moves like E6, NF6, B7, and OO. This setup gives us a rock-solid position while keeping White from getting too comfortable. Fantasy variation. Last but not least, we've got the fantasy variation. Now this one sounds bold, right? Well, it is. White decides to play 3, F3, hoping to overpower the center and control the board early. But here's the deal, this variation can get risky for White if they're not careful. We counter this with 3, DXC4, accepting the challenge. White captures back with the pawn, and we respond with moves like NF6, getting our knight into the action early and putting pressure on E4. White often plays NC3 or BD3 here, trying to hold on to the center. But with a solid plan, we can keep building pressure and wait for White to slip up. The fantasy variation might seem aggressive, but with the right responses, it's more of a fantasy for White than for us. Recap and strategy tips. So, to recap in the Caro-Kann Defense, you've got a few main ideas. 1, the advanced variation, where we play Bf5 and aim to break down White's central control over time. 2, the exchange variation, where we just keep it cool, trade pawns, and develop a solid setup. 3, the classical variation, where we bring our bishop out early and take control of the center. 4, and finally, the fantasy variation, where White gets ambitious, and we calmly dismantle their plan. The best part about the Caro-Kann, it's not just defense, it's a waiting game. You're setting up moves that make White overextend while you just sit back and get stronger. So if you're looking to turn the tables on 1, A4 players, this is the opening for you. You'll be calm, collected, and in control the entire game. Hit that like button, subscribe to Chessium, and comment below if there's another opening you want me to cover. Until next time, keep it cool and keep it Caro-Kann. Later.